Welcome, everyone. It is your host here, Annalena. I'm so excited to have you here for another episode. This week, we have been diving into some very practical success tips for introverted and highly empathic leaders like you. And I'm very excited to dive into the third one with you today. And just a little recap. So, on day one, we talked all about how important it is to protect your energy, set healthy boundaries, and with that also minimize distractions as much as you can. Like I said, that's really an ongoing process. Hence, I keep reminding you. And then yesterday we talked about the inevitable consistency. Just like this week, right? I'm showing here up consistently. And like I said, this is not something that happened overnight. This has been in the making for years. And the key is, or the real secret is, you got to get started. And again, reminding you, you're going to get out of your comfort zone, definitely. But the more you do it repeatedly again and again over time, the more masterful you will become. Just think about a child when they first start to learn to walk. First they crawl, they're not walking yet. And eventually they may take one step and then they fall again. That's not when they give up, right? They keep going with the help of the parents, their inner drive until they walk. Eventually they will run. So this is kind of the same with showing up consistently. It's going to take some time. And, some people do it a little bit quicker. Other people take a little bit longer, just like it takes some kids, they start walking with 9 months. Other are already a year and a half old. So honor your unique journey with that. But again, you got to get started. All right. So today we're talking now about practical success tip number 3, which is own your story and authenticity. And this one is especially special to me because when you start to talk more about yourself and your story, people really start to connect with you. And I have been doing this myself, actually, without even people telling me in my early stages as an entrepreneur. And that was always one of the most powerful things that I could do. And one thing that is often holding us back from actually talking more about ourselves and our story is this old paradigm teaching, that's how I call it, that you always have to focus on your ideal client and you have to get into their head and what are they thinking. So we're so hyper focused on something outside of ourselves, right? And what I realized at some point is that, I think my ideal client is just a younger version of me. And I have found this over and over again to be true because the people that I work with, my one-on-one clients, people working with groups and my membership, people that listen to my podcast, they connect to me because of my story. And they're very, very similar. They're also like highly empathic. They're more introverted. They want to do business in integrity. They also often felt like this misalignment in corporate, and they have this deep craving in their heart to do something with their unique gifts and talents to change the world. And of course, we're still unique and different in some way, but there are some very strong characteristics that we just have in common. And that what makes us a magnet to each other. So, and I'm not saying for you not to talk about your client at all and all this kind of stuff. You can still do market research by all means, but give yourself permission to share your experience. And this is not rocket science in any way or form, especially to get started, because people are also like, okay, I have to do the perfect storytelling. This is how you do it. And I have to be an expert at it. No, just talk like you talk to a friend. Like, hey, let me share this something with you that I have learned and some wisdom that I have gained. And obviously, like for myself, human design and Gene Keys has really helped me a lot with that because there were a lot of things that I knew about myself or who I was, but I thought that there's something wrong with me. Like I should be different. I shouldn't feel this way, or I should be more extroverted and I should like certain things, but I just didn't. And I was kind of unknowingly suppressing this part of me. And when human design and Gene Keys came into my life, it just gave myself so much more compassion for myself and really reminded me that, wow, I am so unique and I'm supposed to be different from the masses out there. And that was such a game changer for me that it really gave me this confidence to, kind of weave in my story into everything that I do, even in these videos or the podcast episodes I'm releasing here this week. I have shared some bits and bits of my story. Honestly, everything that I'm teaching here is because of my story. It's because of my experience. And with that, my invitation for you is like, instead of over obsessing and trying to figure out like who's your ideal client avatar, what are they thinking, what should I say so they're gonna get attracted to my content, be real. Say what's on your mind. What are you feeling? What are you wondering about? It's more like an inside out approach. And I really feel like we have it so backwards in many of the teachings that we hear today. And one thing that actually came to me yesterday, I think I was driving in the car and I was listening to the radio, and Taylor Swift is on there a lot. And obviously she's super famous and everything and very magnetic. And I'm not saying you want to be as magnetic as her. I mean, she's serving millions of people with her music. And when you listen to this is brutally authentic. Every song, that's her story. That's the struggles she has gone through. She's being so freaking real. And you don't have to share everything, obviously. There's also something with privacy and having some healthy boundaries. And maybe you don't want to share anything about your love relationship or too much with your kids and your family life and all of this. You don't have to. But in order to really create rapport, like, and trust with people, for them also to become paying clients at some point, you got to be real. You got to be authentic. And the most real and authentic there is your experience. That is your story. And I find so many times, because I know from myself that was the case years ago, where I was like, yeah, but my story is not so special. I thought I have to have the story of like, I was broke and everything was bad, and then I became a millionaire the next day. Like kind of these like from rags to riches story that we sometimes hear. And what I realized over time is that when I heard these extreme stories, right, where something was like super lost and bad, and then they turned it around and everything was perfect now in their life, I couldn't relate to that. I was like, this is like so out of touch with where I'm at. And it also felt a sense of pressure. And what I realized, I started to really relate to people that were just a little bit ahead of me, because I could sense and feel their authenticity. It was real. It was like down to earth. It was like, yeah, I get you. And I can see from your story that this is actually possible for me as well. You know, that when people were talking about, like, yeah, I started my own coaching business, I eventually quit my job, but it wasn't in this hyped up, fake kind of way. And it really motivated me to also start to have a vision for myself that it's actually like possible to at some point get out of corporate and start my own business, because I saw other people doing the same. But it was always when it was from like a more like real and authentic way. So with that, you have an invitation to get in touch with your story. And especially those things that you diminish. I think there's often like a lot of gold in that. And if you can see their story, work with a mentor. I offer one-on-one sessions, my human design readings. They're always, I have to say that they're magical, because there's just something that happens that gets activated within people, where they see more of their magic, they see their uniqueness, their story, how they're special. And just that is so valuable, because there's nobody there like you in this world. You are such a unicorn, and nobody has the story that you have. And I bet there's so many things that you have struggled with, that you have overcome, that are going to be such a game changer, such a shortcut, such an inspiration for transformation for other people. I think we always underestimate. And yeah, this is my story and my inspiration for you guys today, because again, for everything I do, my podcast, so this consistency, and we talked about this yesterday, the more you allow yourself to put your story into everything, like little pieces here and there. And at some point, like I do it just like automatically. I don't even think about it much anymore. But on my podcast episodes, I talk a lot about my story here and there. On my email newsletter, and I can tell you the most beautiful feedback I have received from people where there was like, oh my God, thank you so much for sharing, is when I really shared something very personal from my own story. And this could be something that you experienced yesterday when you went through like an emotionally challenging situation, and actually share with people how it felt, how uncomfortable it was, and then with the awareness, how you shifted and how it turned into a much more magical outcome for yourself. Right. And one other thing as a tip I want to give you, because I struggled with this a lot and I still work on this, I sometimes felt like when it comes to telling my story, I have to tell my entire life. So I got kind of caught up, and then I did this, and then this, and then this, and this, and this. And it kind of also wasn't this transformation for other people, because it was just like a really long list and it felt a little overwhelming. And so when you can more focus on a specific moment of your life as part of your story, that is so much more impactful, because it also helps people to slow down, to be more in the present moment. It's also much more relatable. And it's also less overwhelming in terms of the amount of stuff that you share with people. And I think it's easier for you in terms of stretching gently out of your comfort zone, that you just start to share snippets of events that were kind of very impactful for you in your life, and you start to share this with people. So this is something I think that is the biggest secret to when it comes to really attracting your soul clients, because people want to know you. People want to know you're real and you are authentic. And again, think about who are the people that you like to be around, people that you are attracted to, people that you like to buy from. In my case, are those people. They're super real, they're super authentic, it's super relatable. It's not this hyped up stuff. They are really share what's going on inside of them, how they're thinking, how they're feeling, and in a very like tangible way. So that's it for today. I hope this inspired you, and I would love to hear from you guys. Like, what's one thing that you could share from your story? And once you do that, that's being authentic, right? That's real. That's you. In case you're kind of also overthinking, like, what does it mean to be authentic? And by the way, I want to mention this before we close down for the day. There has been some research recently that authenticity is the highest frequency there is. They have been doing some research apparently, and I haven't done it myself, but it's apparently like 4,000 times higher even than love. So when you can be radically you, your most authentic self, that's going against the masses, that's not trying to fit in, that's doing your thing, which may also repel some people. That's actually, by the way, a good thing. When you are really being authentic, you're gonna also naturally let go of the people that are not aligned for you. So also, because I know fear of rejection, we talked about this the other day, is a big one. Always celebrate. Also, when you see like you're making space in some way, because when you let go of some people that are not aligned for you through your authenticity, through your story, and letting go of people pleasing, you make more space for the people that are really aligned for you, that you are here to support and guide through the magical gifts that you have. So just a little side note with that. So the more you start to share your story slowly, one step at a time, in a consistent way, however that feels good to you, you are naturally becoming more authentic, and you're going to naturally attract more ideal clients into your life, into your business. So again, thank you so much for your time and attention. I really, really appreciate it. I hope you got at least one super valuable nugget of wisdom from this. And I'm excited to be with you all tomorrow for success tip number 3.